Today, we're looking into a really powerful but almost invisible force that pretty much shapes our entire lives. It's a concept from Jeff Olson's book, The Slight Edge, and it's this idea that explains why some people really do achieve their dreams while so many others feel stuck. Turns out the answer is hiding in plain sight. I mean, have you ever asked yourself this? Just think about it. We are absolutely drowning in information. Self-help books, online courses, you name it. Everything we could possibly need to succeed is literally at our fingertips. So why do so many of us still feel, well, stuck, unhappy, and just not successful? And this is the exact question author Jeff Olson asked himself. He was just people watching at an airport, seeing all these tired, frustrated faces, and it hit him. The problem isn't a lack of information or even a lack of desire. No, it was something else entirely, something hidden right in front of us. So the answer to that big paradox is the whole point of this explainer, a philosophy Olson calls the slight edge. And it's not about finding some magic bullet or making a giant quantum leap. Nope, it's way, way simpler and honestly a lot more powerful. Okay, so what is it exactly? Well, the slight edge is this fundamental understanding that true, lasting success comes from the small, seemingly meaningless choices you make every single day. We're talking about simple disciplines applied over and over and over again that eventually compound into huge results. Now, what's so fascinating about this is how it shows the two sides of the slight edge coin. On one hand, you've got these simple, positive actions, like reading just 10 pages of a good book. So easy to do, right? But on the other side, you have these simple errors in judgment, skipping that 20-minute walk. Also incredibly easy to do. And in the moment, neither choice feels like it matters at all. But this is where the magic or the tragedy really begins. You see, the engine that drives the slight edge is this force that Albert Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world, the power of compounding. Let's really see how this works. Olson lays out a classic choice to show us what's happening. So, what would you take? $1 million right here, right now? Or a single lonely penny that doubles in value every day for a month? You know, most people, they just grab the cash. But let's follow that penny for a minute. For the first couple of weeks, you'd be kicking yourself for taking the penny. On day 15, you've only got about $163. But then, the power of compounding kicks into high gear. By day 28, you've blown past $1 million, and by day 30, you're sitting on over $5 million. And that is what your small, daily disciplines are doing, quietly in the background. So what this means is that every single day, with every one of those tiny choices, you are placing yourself on one of two very different paths. I want you to picture two lines on a graph. For weeks, months, maybe even years, these lines run so close together you can't even tell them apart. You know, one person reads 10 pages a day, the other watches an hour of TV. After a month, their lives look exactly the same. And because there are no immediate results, it is so easy to just unknowingly drift down the wrong path. But eventually, those lines start to separate, and when they do, they diverge dramatically. People on the success curve, they just have a different philosophy. They take 100% responsibility for their lives. They're pulled forward by where they want to go, and this is crucial. They get that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Think about Thomas Edison, who famously said he didn't fail, he just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. That's the mindset right there. And then you have the contrast, folks on the failure curve. Their life is all about blame. It's always someone else's fault, the economy, their boss, you name it. They're haunted by past mistakes, and they're always looking for comfort. They're not making those small daily efforts. No, they're waiting for the one big break, the winning lottery ticket that our culture loves to talk about. But successful people know that break never just shows up. They're too busy building it themselves, one small choice at a time. This quote it gets to the very heart of it. It's not about ability, it's about willingness. Are you willing to do the small, boring, unglamorous things every day that most people just aren't? Because that's the real deciding factor. Okay, so this is the most important part. We have to understand why this is so hard. I mean, if it's so simple, why isn't everyone doing it? Well, the answer is in the beginning, when all your efforts feel completely and totally invisible. This right here is the number one reason people quit. We live in a world that glorifies overnight success. So when you start eating healthy or you go to the gym for a week and nothing happens, it just feels pointless. You look in the mirror, you step on the scale, and you see zero results. And man, that is deeply discouraging. Olson uses this absolutely brilliant analogy to explain what's going on. I want you to picture a massive 5,000-pound metal disc, a flywheel. And your job is to get it spinning. You give it your first huge push, and it barely moves an inch.
But you keep pushing, and it is exhausting, thankless work. After hours and hours of straining, you finally complete one single rotation. Let's be honest, most people would have given up by now, convinced it's impossible. But you keep going, and the second turn is a little easier, then the third, and then a breakthrough happens. The flywheel's own momentum starts to take over. Its immense weight is now working for you, not against you. And soon it's spinning with this unstoppable force. Now, if someone came along and saw this giant spinning wheel, they might ask this very question. What was it? What was the one big heroic push that made it all happen?
And the answer is, there wasn't one. It was every single push. The first agonizing inch, the 100th push, the 1,000th. It was the total accumulation of all that effort applied consistently in one direction.
Okay, so we get the mechanics. But how do you actually build the engine for all this success? Well, it all starts with the absolute foundation of your life, your habits.
I mean, habits are just those automatic things that kind of pilot our lives, right? You don't sit there and have a big internal debate about whether to brush your teeth in the morning. You just do it. The whole point of the slight edge is to consciously engineer those automatic behaviors, to build habits that serve your goals so your success becomes just as automatic.
And here's how it all connects. It's this really simple but incredibly powerful progression. You do one thing, like reading just 10 pages of a good book. You do it again and again and again, and boom, it becomes a habit. That habit starts to shape who you are. You become a learner, a reader. And ultimately, that character is what creates your destiny. It all just starts with one small act.
And if you want to see just how incredibly powerful this is in the real world, let's talk about the story of a guy named Trey Honeycutt. He was really struggling with his weight and decided, you know what? I'm going to put the slight edge to the test. So Trey didn't go on some crazy quantum leap diet, right? He didn't starve himself or anything like that. He just applied these tiny daily disciplines, little positive habits that were super easy to do. And over 40 weeks, what happened? Those habits compounded into a 60-pound weight loss and a whole new career. That is the slight edge in action. But here's a really interesting part of the puzzle. Trey's success wasn't just about his own effort. The book really hammers this home. Your environment, and especially the people you're around, play a massive role in your success. Yeah, this is probably one of the most famous ideas from the book, and honestly, it can be a bit of a wake-up call. And listen, this isn't just about money. Your health, your attitude, your ambition, they all tend to average out with the 5 people you spend the most time with. So you have to ask yourself, are the people around me pulling me up, or are they kind of holding me back? Olson draws a really clear line in the sand here. You have people in your life who lift you up. They're focused on the future, they take responsibility. And then there are the people he calls cuckoos, the ones who are always dwelling on the past, blaming others, just spreading negativity. You've got to make a conscious choice to spend your time with people who represent where you want to go, not where you've been. So what's the solution to that? How do you do it? Well, you create what's called a mastermind group. Think of this as your personal board of directors, a support system of people who are on the same page, all working towards success together. These are the people who are going to help you stay on that upward curve and kind of protect you from all that negativity out there. Okay, so let's say you've got your habits dialed in. You've got the right people around you. What's next? Now it's time to create a real actionable blueprint for your goals, to turn that fuzzy dream into something you can actually see and touch. And the book gives us 4 simple but absolutely crucial rules for this. First, you got to write it down, make it specific, give it a deadline. Second, you need a plan, but, and this is a big but, it's just a plan to start. Third, you have to understand and be willing to pay the price, which means knowing the effort involved and committing up front. And finally, number 4, you have to look at it every single day. And that brings us to a really crucial point. You do not need a perfect plan. Actually, there's no such thing. The book uses this great analogy of an Apollo rocket. It's actually off course like 97% of the time. It gets to the moon by making thousands and thousands of tiny little course corrections along the way. Your plan is just like that. It's just a starting point to get you off the ground. So just like that story about starting a fortune with a single penny, you have to start with the very first simple action you can take today. Stop trying to figure out the whole journey from A to Z. Just focus on that one small step that gets you going. And this all leads us to our final and maybe the most important section of all. The slight edge isn't something you can just switch on when you feel like it. It's always working. So the only real question is it working for you or against you? You see, the slight edge is like gravity. It doesn't care if you're a good person, a bad person, motivated or lazy. It just exists. It's a neutral law of the universe. The same power of compounding that can build you a fortune can just as easily compound your debt. The same principle that builds incredible health can also lead to disease. The choice of which way it goes is always up to you. So now it's time to turn the mirror on ourselves. Let's get real for a second. I want you to take an honest look at your own life right here, right now. In these key areas, your health, your personal growth, your relationships, your finances. Are your daily habits moving you up that success curve, or are they slowly, almost invisibly pulling you down the failure curve? You got to be brutally honest with yourself here. Because here's the ultimate takeaway. The slight edge is a neutral force. It's like gravity. It is always on. Those simple, small disciplines you do every day, they are compounding into your success. And those simple little errors in judgment, they're compounding into your failure. The choice you make right now in this very moment is determining your direction. So the question is, which path are you on? A look into the slight edge gives you the insight, but the full book gives you the breakthrough. If you're ready to master your own mind, the link is in the description. Share this with someone who is also building their best self. Then like and subscribe to keep gaining clarity.